Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you this morning. Grayscale and everything you need to know about it. We got the Federal Reserve setting guidelines for banks and the use of stable coins. Oh my, oh my. What will the G20 bring us? And guess what else? Will Ripple settle with the SEC in September? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.13 trillion market cap. The market is up 4.4%, and you have to point to the Grayscale news. We'll get into it. 27,300 plus right now, 1719 and change for Ethereum, and we see Tether market cap at 82.8 billion plus. Number 5 spot is XRP, 53 cents. It's up 3% on the 24-hour and 2.2 on the 7-day. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's the night to join us for the Digital Perspective Mastermind group. And I tell you, join the hundreds of others, because this is what we know. We know that your life is busy. We know that you can't keep up with everything. The markets are moving so quickly. And I tell you, we've got all the tools you need in here to become the kind of investor that you're looking to become. No doubt about that. This is the time when real wealth is made in a down market. Take advantage of the special offer. It's one-time offer. The door will close. I can promise you that. This is a 3-day free trial, and join us tonight for our private live stream if you want to learn more about different ways to not only create wealth, but to manage it and maintain it and grow it. We're going to have that conversation tonight. Make sure you click the link and take advantage and join us inside. We'll see you there. We start with Ryan Selkis, a two-bit idiot here, who says Hong Kong's version of the SEC just licensed another crypto bank. Meanwhile, our corrupt snake of an SEC chair slithers around plotting how to undermine today's unanimous rebuke of his agency's incompetence. Hashtag fire Gary Gensler. Ryan Selkis is feeling it this morning, and I'm aligning with him. And that really means that we're probably going to see 2 full moons this month. Yes, we are. A blue super full moon. Make sure you check it out. Is it possible Grayscale resumes adding XRP to its fund? That would be huge. Grayscale possible next move, resuming XRP Digital Large Cap Fund after second SEC setback. This is all based on the win that Grayscale just had. Notably, they basically appealed the decision from the SEC. Grayscale investment digital asset firm won its lawsuit against the SEC. They had a lawsuit because it wasn't fair, and it wasn't. It accused the securities regulator of acting arbitrarily by rejecting its application to convert Grayscale Bitcoin Trust to a spot-based exchange-traded product. In its lawsuit, it says here, filed last June, Grayscale argued that the SEC has no tangible reason to keep rejecting spot-based Bitcoin ETF applications, all while accepting future-based ETFs for Bitcoin. The court agreed to this argument following the victory secured by Grayscale yesterday. Speculations have emerged on the implications to the crypto scene. Most pundits believe it boosts the crypto's market chances of finally seeing a spot-based Bitcoin ETF. Now, with that being said, we also saw I believe it was Riz out here who put forth and said congratulations to Barry Silbert over at Grayscale. When will we see XRP return to the digital large cap for Grayscale? No answer as of yet, but a great question. There should be no reason why it's not available. Take a listen to this real quick here, because look, what we need to understand, whether you're in Bitcoin or whether you're not, we need to understand the impact of what this means. A spot Bitcoin ETF approval means that people, investors, will get exposure through the ETF through regulatory framework that gives them some protections, okay? And that's a big, big, big deal. Take a listen right here.
Is ETF analyst James Seyffert to discuss what this means for those other crypto spot Bitcoin ETF applicants. What do you think this means for approval of all of the other attempts that are out there, James?
Yeah, I mean, so this definitely increases the odds of approval for those products. I mean, what we kind of also had this baked in a little bit. I mean, Elliot Stein, who just spoke, we're back in March, right after we heard the oral arguments, me and him went to 70% odds that Grayscale was going to win. So it's nice to be a little vindicated here on that front. But this doesn't mean a guaranteed, as you kind of said at the front, a guaranteed approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs. There are a total of 11 people out there trying to get ETFs that will hold spot Bitcoin, including Grayscale. So Grayscale now is obviously much closer to converting this thing to an ETF, but as you mentioned, it's not guaranteed. We need to see what the SEC is going to do. The SEC had issued statements saying they don't know exactly what they're going to do. As Elliot hinted, they could theoretically withdraw Bitcoin futures ETFs because this was a complete and utter rebuke of every argument that the SEC has made in their denial letters. Basically, what the judges here are saying is you can't make arguments about fraud and manipulation in the underlying spot markets when you're allowing Bitcoin futures ETFs to exist. So this is a complete rebuke of those arguments. The only way the SEC, if they decide to go back and find another way to deny these things is, like I said, like Elliot said, withdraw the futures ETFs or find a different way that has not yet been argued. And the only way to do that I can think of is argue that you need some sort of regulated custodian, have issues with the custodian or settlement of the actual spot Bitcoin, because it needs to be something completely untangled from Bitcoin futures ETFs. But honestly, the easiest path forward here is just for them to approve these things. And the timeline is kind of up in the air, and we're going to wait to see what the SEC does.
Well, there we have it. And listen, again, you know, these protections that are available to people through ETFs, investor protections that are already built in a regulatory framework, would bring massive amounts of money, even on the institutional level. So we're going to pay very, very close attention to that. And don't forget about the halving in April for Bitcoin, which usually spurs a break on the upside for Bitcoin. Now, right here, I tell you what, Cypress Demonacore and his research team, they are crushing it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me play this clip, a piece of this clip for you right here so you can see how crushing it they're doing.
Let me show you all some fundamentals that are taking place behind the scenes that are never going to make it to the mainstream to support the thesis that I put out to you all on Twitter, saying that during the crypto winter, despite the prevailing bearish price trends, the underlying fundamentals for the next potential bull market remain promising. This is because significant developments are occurring in the crypto space behind the scenes that, again, are never going to make it to the mainstream. I have two firm beliefs that, one, the digital asset XRP is going to remain alive and thrive during the next bull market, obviously because it is the native digital asset of the company Ripple, and that Ripple is going to be a systematically important organization moving forward in the global payments landscape. Let's head over to the senior policy advisor of the APEC region LinkedIn page, Rahul Advani. He went on to say just 2 weeks ago, it's a short week in Singapore with the National Day holiday. However, I was flying the Singapore and Ripple flags in Bangkok. We know that Ripple is a member of the Blockchain Association of Singapore. That's very interesting. But it goes on to say, at the first ever Global Sustainability and Productivity Network, or the GSPN dialogue hosted at the United Nations. Thank you to Dado Stephen Shea and the team at the Diplomatic Council, UNO Reg, and the Gen Thailand for the opportunity to participate. You do not get to participate in first ever events hosted by the United Nations if you're not going to be a systematically important organization in the future moving forward.
And how about that? Now, he goes on to bring some other connections in, but that is the one that I wanted to focus on heavily for this morning here, because I believe that he makes a great point. And we know that Zago, it's not Zago. What is the name of the exchange? It's Zange. Zange.com is built on the XRP ledger. They're also working with the United Nations. Who in the world has these kind of connections like this? It's just mind-blowing to me. And when you think about the climate that we're in, we know BRICS Summit just happened. They announced they're going to start using their own dollars for trade more often. This is going to create more friction in smaller trade corridors. Perfect scenario for XRP to serve as a bridge asset in these areas, using the US dollar less, right? More countries, oil-producing countries, joining BRICS in January 1 of 2024. We see the G20 getting ready to meet in September as well. What are they going to give us as far as crypto regulations on a global level in collaboration? We yet to find out. but we see the Federal Reserve setting guidelines now for banks in the use of stable coins. I tell you, these things are extremely promising here. And look, let me just get to, I don't want to read the whole thing to you, and it is a very good, worthy read, but this is what I want to give you, this part here, and we'll look at the other. The board provided additional information on the process for state bank supervised and Federal Reserve to follow before engaging in certain dollar token or stablecoin activity, including demonstrating to its Federal Reserve supervisors that it has appropriate safeguards to conduct the activity safely and soundly. Now, if we go a little further down into this, the letter applies to all banking organizations supervised by the Federal Reserve, including those with 10 billion or less in consolidated assets. Look, if we look at this, what the Federal Reserve has established is a novel activity supervision program. Now, this looks a lot to me like the kind of thing that you develop so you can monitor the effects of this supervision and this program, and then take away the elements that really matter for the Congress to put it together for legislation in maybe a couple years. This is why a lot of people believe we're not going to see legislation on crypto for at least 2 years. Now, stablecoin legislation, maybe we get that by the end of the year, some people believe. We will see. But this supervision program could delay that as well, just for gathering data and information, so they make laws and regulation that are actually applicable to market conditions. Program will focus on novel activity-related crypto assets, distributed ledger technology, and complex technology-driven partnerships with non-banks to deliver financial services to customers. The program will risk-focused and complement existing supervisory processes, strengthening the oversight and novel activities conducted by supervised banking organizations. I'm going to give you just the outline here very quickly here. Complex technology-driven partnerships with non-banks to provide banking services. The crypto asset-related activities project the use of DLT with potential for significant impact on the financial system. Look, for anybody who thinks that the United States is not well aware of what the hell's going on here, the exploration or use of DLT for various use cases such as issuance of dollar tokens and tokenization of securities or other assets. They're well aware of what's going on here, right? And listen, and when it comes to stable coins, a lot of people will say that basically the best way to kind of see stable coins is they operate similar way that money market funds, where the peg is backed by a reserve of U.S. Treasury certificates, deposits, commercial paper, corporate and municipal bonds. Then some others also say stablecoins serve very different purpose than money market funds, and they argue the point that they're primarily used as a means of payment or transaction based on the U.S. dollar peg rather than as an investment option or a cash management vehicle. So you can see where that still has to be sussed out, but I believe we've got the supervisory program in place to do so. Now, real quick, if you remember Bitstamp, we found out just not long ago, they said trading for the U.S. residents back August 8th, this came out for altcoins, and then this is what we got here. It was starting August 29th. They saw these tokens here listed. Trading will be halted after evaluating recent market developments. Execute any open trades, holding withdrawals, tokens afterwards will be unaffected. We know this was for U.S. customers, but I'm bringing this up because I want you to listen to Ripple in Wales here, who basically says in the U.S., Bitstamp suspended the 8 of the 68 alleged securities. It says Sol, Near, Matic, Mana, Axie, Sand have all been suspended. Is this the first wave of the new SEC strong arm against layer 1s and layer 2s? It's a great question. Are ADA, Algo, AVAX, and DOT next up? XRP only token with legal clarity. Take a quick listen to this clip.
Good morning, everybody. Yesterday, on the 29th of August, Bitstamp suspended and delisted trading for American users for some of the top cryptocurrencies in the space. The likes of Solana, Avalanche, Matic, Mana, Sand, Axie Infinity. Big layer 1 protocols and layer 2s, Matic, and also 3 of the largest metaverse tokens and land sale tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. Very interesting times. They are 8 of the tokens from the 68 that were alleged to be securities by the SEC and the Binance and Coinbase lawsuit that's ongoing. Now, this is the first set of delistings on any American exchange, but I expect there's going to be a load more. I've been saying for a while that when the SEC comes for the next round, it's going to be the layer 1 protocols, the likes of Cardano, Algorand, the likes of DOT, Avalanche. It looks like, unfortunately, the SEC is going to come after those as well. And it's kind of normally a good sign of SECs going after a token like that, because it means that they are a threat. But it's not so good if you want access to those tokens for liquidity purposes. So this is something to keep your eyes on. It's the first, tranche that have been delisted, but I don't think it's the last. You should keep an eye on this. I think it's going to accelerate. Anyway, have a good day all.
And there you have it right there. And it is something to pay very close attention to, just as USD Tether is something to watch closely as well. Look, seeing the Federal Reserve come out with the supervisory program and what they're saying about stablecoins, you have to wonder, where will Tether fit in, knowing that they're not inside of the realm of framework that everything in the traditional markets are currently. And that is concerning. And look, what will the G20 bring in the way of collaboration for crypto regulations and stablecoins and CBDCs? We'll have to see. But until then, let's take a look at this. Zach Rector puts forth the question here. Will we see an SEC versus Ripple lawsuit be settled in September? Take a listen to his speculation and reasoning for asking the question.
The SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is going to settle up here in September. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, and let me be clear, this is just my speculation, but let me explain why I think we see this case settle up here in September. So Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple just put out that we're going to be having a celebration on the 29th, and Brad says, as promised, it's time for that proper victory party. Now, this comes from his statements in XRP Vegas, and I was in that room in XRP Vegas with my glass of wine in hand, listening to Brad Garlinghouse, and huge shout out to Brad for showing up there with us. But he said, very specifically, he said that when we win this case, then we're going to have a proper party. Well, it appears to me Ripple and Brad are already putting out the announcements for the proper party. To me, that leads me to believe that this case is already done and settled up. Now, in addition to that, if you go look at Mary Jo White, former SEC official, and she represented Purdue Pharma, she actually settled up with the United States government while representing Purdue for one of the most historical settlements in the history of the U.S. The SEC versus Ripple.
And there you have it right there. The question being asked is a worthy question. Would we have a proper party if the case isn't over? I don't know the answer, but I damn sure love the question. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.